Fear of rejection keeps most people broke, stuck, and silent. But the few who learn to ask anyway, they rise, they grow, and they win. You can keep hoping people will notice you, or you can ask for what you need and move forward faster. If asking feels uncomfortable, good. That's the edge where growth happens. That's the doorway to getting what you've always wanted. You're not too much for asking. You're too powerful to keep quiet. Ask with purpose. Ask with belief. Ask until the doors open. What if the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the courage to ask for it? What if you've been waiting, hoping, working hard, but never really asking for what you deserve? Most people never get what they want because they never say the words out loud. They assume, they hesitate, they fear rejection. But here's the truth, asking is a skill. And just like any other skill, it can be learned, practiced, and mastered. Imagine being able to ask for a raise, a second chance, an opportunity, or even support, and actually getting it. This isn't about being pushy. It's about being clear, confident, and courageous. The art of asking is simple, but it's life-changing. So if you're tired of settling, if you're done holding back, if you're ready to speak up, stand tall, and finally get what you want, then let's dive in. Chapter 1. Learn to ask clearly with confident body language. Most people struggle with asking for what they want. It's not because they don't know what they want or don't deserve it. The real struggle is how they ask. When a person doesn't ask clearly or shows doubt in their body language, it's like sending mixed signals to the world. People around them don't feel confident enough to say yes because the question itself seems uncertain or weak. Imagine standing in front of someone and wanting something important, but shrinking inside, avoiding eye contact or mumbling your words. The message you send is not just in the words you say, but in how you say them, the way you hold your posture, the tone of your voice, and the expressions on your face. These things speak louder than the words themselves. When you ask with confidence, your body tells the listener that you believe in your request, and that belief is contagious. It makes people want to support you, to help you, to say yes. But if you are unclear and your body language shows hesitation, it creates doubt and pushes people away. Confidence is the foundation of clear asking. It is not about being loud or aggressive. It's about standing tall, shoulders back, head held high, and eyes looking straight ahead. This posture alone changes how you feel inside. It shifts your mindset from, "I'm not sure if I deserve this," to, "I know what I want and I'm worthy of it." The moment you adopt confident body language, your brain releases chemicals that calm nerves and boost courage. When your body is strong, your mind follows. And when your mind believes, your words come out clear and strong. This connection between body and mind is a secret many people overlook. They focus too much on what to say and forget about how to present themselves while saying it. Clarity in asking starts with clarity in posture and presence. Voice is another powerful tool in clear asking. When you speak softly or with hesitation, people hear uncertainty. They may wonder why you're even asking, or if the request is really important. But when you speak with a steady, calm voice that matches your posture, your words carry weight. Practice speaking slowly with purpose. Don't rush through your request. Take your time so the listener understands you fully. Pausing at the right moments gives your words space to sink in. It shows you are serious and thoughtful about what you are asking. The sound of your voice combined with your confident stance makes your ask memorable and difficult to ignore. Eye contact is something many people avoid because it feels uncomfortable, but it's one of the strongest ways to communicate confidence and clarity. When you look someone in the eyes while asking, it creates a connection. It tells the person you are genuine, honest, and that you respect them enough to be open. Avoiding eye contact can make you seem unsure or even dishonest. Eye contact doesn't mean staring or intimidating. It means steady and kind attention. This simple act invites trust and increases your chances of getting a positive response. Clear asking also means preparing your message in your mind before you speak. Know exactly what you want to say so you don't stumble over your words or lose your train of thought. When your mind is clear, your body can follow with confidence. It's like having a roadmap before a journey. Without a plan, you wander aimlessly. With a plan, you move forward with purpose. Writing down your request or rehearsing it can help solidify this clarity. When you know your request inside and out, you can say it without hesitation, making it easier for others to understand and respond. Most people don't realize how much their body language influences how others respond to them. A closed posture, like crossed arms or hunched shoulders, can signal defensiveness or fear. This makes people hesitant to say yes. An open posture, like relaxed arms and a straight back, invites conversation and cooperation. When you combine open posture with a clear, confident voice and steady eye contact, you are more likely to inspire a positive reaction. People want to help those who appear sure of themselves and their intentions. Another important part of asking clearly with confidence is managing your emotions. Fear of rejection or embarrassment often makes people avoid asking altogether or ask in a weak way. But fear is natural and can be overcome. Take a deep breath before you speak. Feel your feet firmly on the ground. Remind yourself that your request is reasonable and that the worst outcome is a no, which you can handle. This mindset shift gives you the emotional strength to ask clearly. When you control your emotions, you control the situation. People often think that asking clearly is just about being direct. But it's also about being respectful and kind. Your body language can show respect by keeping a calm demeanor and smiling gently. This balance between confidence and warmth makes your request more appealing. People don't respond well to demands or aggressive behavior. They respond to people who come from a place of honesty and respect. When your body language and words match that intention, your ask becomes a conversation, not a confrontation. The environment where you ask matters too. If you are in a noisy or distracting place, it's harder to be clear and confident. Choose a quiet, comfortable spot where you can focus on the person you are asking. This setting helps reduce anxiety and makes your body language more natural and relaxed. When you feel safe and comfortable, your confidence shines through without forcing it. It's important to remember that everyone can learn to ask clearly with confident body language. It's not a skill reserved for a few lucky people. Like any skill, it improves with practice and awareness. Start by paying attention to your body language when you speak. Notice if you are slouching, avoiding eye contact, or speaking too fast. Then try adjusting one thing at a time. Straighten your back, slow down your voice, or look at the person's eyes. These small changes make a big difference over time. Confidence builds gradually, like muscle strength, through consistent effort. Imagine the doors that will open when you master this art of asking clearly and confidently. Opportunities at work, help from friends, support from strangers, all become more accessible. When your body language matches your words, your requests feel natural and powerful. Chapter 2. Know exactly what you want before asking anyone. One of the biggest mistakes people make when asking for something is not being clear about what they actually want. Most of the time, they come with vague ideas, unclear desires, or a jumble of wishes that confuse both themselves and the person they are asking. Imagine going to a store and trying to buy something without knowing what it is. You wander around the aisles, unsure of what to pick. This is how it feels when you ask, without knowing exactly what you want. It wastes time, creates frustration, and often ends with no results. Knowing exactly what you want before you ask is the foundation of getting what you desire in life. If you do not have a clear picture in your mind, how can you expect someone else to understand or help you? Clarity begins with honest self-reflection. You must spend time thinking deeply about your true needs, desires, and priorities. It is easy to confuse what you think you want with what others tell you to want or what looks good on the surface. Many people ask for things just because they think they should or because someone else expects it from them. This kind of asking rarely works because it lacks personal conviction and clear focus. When your request is not built on your real desires, it comes off as weak or insincere. Before you ask anyone, spend time understanding why you want what you want and what it means to you. When your request is rooted in your true intention, it carries much more power. Writing down exactly what you want is a practical way to sharpen your clarity. Put it on paper. Break down your request into specific details. What exactly do you want? Why do you want it? How will it impact your life? The more precise you are, the easier it is to communicate your request to others. Vague asks like, "I need help" or "I want support" are difficult for people to respond to. But when you say, "I need a 2-hour review of my presentation by Wednesday to improve my chances of closing a deal," the request is clear and people understand how to help. Specificity in your asking reduces confusion and increases the likelihood of a positive response. Knowing what you want also means understanding your limits and alternatives. Sometimes people ask for everything all at once because they fear missing out or believe more is better. But this can overwhelm the person being asked. When you know your limits, you ask for what is realistic and manageable. This respect for boundaries makes your request easier to fulfill. You also gain clarity by knowing your alternatives. If the answer is no, what is your backup plan? Knowing your options gives you confidence and reduces desperation in your ask. Your emotional connection to what you want is critical. When your desire is strong and meaningful, it fuels your confidence and motivation to ask. Weak or unclear emotions lead to weak requests. If what you want truly matters to you, let that feeling fill your mind and body before asking. This emotional clarity makes your request authentic and powerful. People sense when your ask comes from a genuine place. They respond to that honesty much more willingly. Sometimes people ask for things that are too broad or too complicated. This dilutes the strength of the request. Break down large or complicated wants into smaller, manageable pieces. This allows you to focus on one clear request at a time, making it easier for the person you are asking to understand and say yes. Clear priorities help you decide which request to make first and which can wait. Asking for too much at once confuses people and reduces your chances of success. Understanding the why behind your ask is as important as the what. When you know why you want something, you can explain it clearly, which helps others see the value of saying yes. If you cannot explain why your request matters, it raises doubt. People want to know how their help makes a difference. When you connect your ask to a clear purpose or benefit, it creates motivation in others to support you. This sense of shared value builds trust and cooperation. People who know exactly what they want stand out because they are seen as decisive and focused. This attracts positive attention and respect. Unclear requests often come across as weak or uncertain. Being sure of your wants means you present yourself as someone who is ready to take action and follow through. This impression encourages people to respond positively because they want to invest their time and energy in someone reliable. Preparation plays a big role in knowing what you want. Before you ask, take time to organize your thoughts, gather facts, and anticipate questions. This preparation shows that you are serious and respectful of the other person's time. When you come prepared, it makes your ask more effective and increases your chances of getting what you want. People are more willing to help someone who has done their homework. Clarity about your wants reduces internal conflict. Many people hesitate to ask because they feel confused or uncertain inside. This internal doubt shows in their voice and body language. When you are clear about what you want, you remove this hesitation. You step forward with certainty and purpose. This internal alignment creates powerful energy that others feel and respond to. Knowing exactly what you want also helps you manage expectations. When you are clear, you can set realistic timelines and conditions for your request. This avoids misunderstandings and disappointment. It shows maturity and professionalism in your approach. People appreciate clear communication because it respects their ability to give and manage resources. Your mind has a natural tendency to jump from one thought to another, especially when nervous. This can lead to unclear asking because your thoughts are scattered. Practicing focused thinking before asking is key. Take a moment to gather your thoughts. Speak your request slowly and clearly in your mind before saying it out loud. This mental rehearsal aligns your thinking and speaking, making your ask sharp and confident. Knowing exactly what you want builds your self-respect. It tells you that your needs and desires matter. This self-respect translates into stronger asking because you no longer settle for less or apologize for your requests. When you respect yourself, others naturally follow your lead. You create an environment where your voice matters. People often believe they can figure out what they want while they are asking. This is a trap. Asking should not be the moment of discovery, but the moment of clarity. If you use asking as a chance to explore your desires, it wastes time and confuses others. The clarity should come before you open your mouth. This clarity saves time for everyone and makes the process smoother and more respectful. Knowing exactly what you want is not about being rigid or inflexible. It is about being clear in your intention while remaining open to adjustments. Sometimes your ask will need to change based on new information or feedback. Being clear does not mean stubborn. It means communicating your current need clearly and honestly, and being ready to adapt when necessary. The clarity of your ask creates a positive experience for both you and the person you are asking. It removes awkwardness and frustration. It opens the door for open dialogue and cooperation. When your request is clear, it invites a clear answer. This clarity builds stronger relationships because it shows respect for time, effort, and honesty. When you know exactly what you want, you also gain control over your actions. You avoid wasting energy on chasing unclear goals or reacting to others' expectations. Clear goals give you direction and power. This direction makes you more focused, productive, and confident in every request you make. Chapter 3. Practice asking daily to build fearless momentum. Many people freeze at the very idea of asking for something. It does not matter if it is a small favor or a big opportunity. The hesitation is real, and the fear is often so strong it stops them in their tracks. This fear comes from not practicing enough. Asking is a skill just like any other. If you do not practice, your muscles of courage remain weak and fragile. When you begin practicing asking every day, something remarkable happens. You build momentum, and that momentum crushes fear. The power that comes from regularly putting yourself out there creates a fearless attitude that spreads into every area of your life. The more you practice asking, the less scary it becomes. It no longer feels like jumping into the deep unknown, but like walking down a familiar path. Starting the habit of daily asking means looking for small chances to make requests throughout your day. This could be asking for a different table at a restaurant, a better price at the store, or even directions from a stranger. These small asks may seem insignificant, but they are the training ground for bigger asks. Every time you ask and face the outcome, whether yes or no, you learn. This learning builds confidence because it teaches you there is nothing to fear in the act of asking itself. You discover that most people respond kindly and that rejection is not the end of the world. Repeated practice changes your mental story about asking. If you have always believed that asking leads to rejection or failure, each small success rewrites that story. You start to see asking as normal and natural. It becomes a simple exchange, not a dangerous gamble. This mental shift is crucial because fear lives in the stories we tell ourselves. When you replace fearful stories with confident ones, your entire mindset improves. This new mindset makes it easier to ask for what truly matters without hesitation. Building fearless momentum also means learning from every asking experience. Reflect on what worked and what did not. Did your tone of voice make a difference? Was your timing right? How did your body language affect the response? These observations help you improve. Fear often comes from uncertainty, but when you practice daily and review each ask, you gain clarity and control. This sense of control is empowering because it turns asking from a guessing game into a strategic action. Facing rejection regularly is part of practicing asking. Many people stop asking after 1 or 2 no's because it hurts their pride or shakes their confidence. But rejection is not failure. It is feedback. It is a stepping stone to getting what you want. The more you practice asking, the easier it becomes to accept no as just part of the process. When you approach asking with this mindset, rejection loses its power to scare you. You keep moving forward, adjusting and improving each time. Another benefit of daily practice is learning to listen better. When you ask frequently, you become more aware of how people respond, not just with words, but with feelings and body language. This awareness helps you tune your asks to fit the situation better. You learn when to push and when to step back. This sensitivity makes your requests more effective and less likely to be rejected. Listening is as important as speaking in the art of asking. Daily asking also sharpens your ability to express yourself clearly and quickly. When you make requests often, you learn to get to the point without wasting time or sounding unsure. This skill is invaluable in both personal and professional settings. Clear and concise asking saves everyone's time and shows respect. It also increases your chances of getting a yes because people appreciate straightforward communication. Building this momentum creates a sense of courage that feels almost automatic. The nervousness you once felt before asking diminishes. You start to feel excited about the possibilities instead of anxious about the risks. This excitement fuels further asking and creates a positive cycle. Each ask feeds your courage and prepares you for the next one. Fear fades away as momentum grows. Some people worry that asking daily will make them seem needy or pushy. This is a misunderstanding. Asking is not about demanding or pressuring others. It is about expressing your needs honestly and respectfully. When you practice asking well, people see your confidence and appreciate your clear communication. You do not become needy, you become empowered. The key is to balance confidence with respect for others' boundaries. Practicing asking also teaches patience. Not every request will get an immediate yes. Some asks require time and persistence. When you practice regularly, you learn how to wait without losing your confidence. You develop the patience to follow up thoughtfully and keep your energy positive. This patience is a sign of strength, not weakness. In addition, practicing asking daily increases your self-awareness. You become more in tune with your own needs and desires. You no longer avoid or hide what you want. This self-awareness leads to greater honesty with yourself and others. It creates a foundation for meaningful relationships built on trust and openness. When you know yourself well, your asks come from a place of authenticity that others respect. The momentum gained from daily practice creates a new identity. You begin to see yourself as a person who asks boldly and lives courageously. This identity influences how you act in other areas of life. You become more willing to take risks, pursue opportunities, and stand up for yourself. Asking becomes a gateway to personal growth and freedom. Some people hesitate to practice asking because they fear judgment or rejection, but each ask you make strengthens your resilience. The more you face these fears head-on, the less power they have over you. This growing resilience is one of the greatest rewards of daily practice. It transforms your relationship with fear and empowers you to keep moving forward despite obstacles. Making a habit of asking daily also sharpens your decision-making skills. You learn to decide quickly what to ask for and when. This decisiveness prevents procrastination and second-guessing. It helps you take action without being held back by doubt. Being decisive shows others that you are confident and in control, increasing your chances of success. Practicing asking every day is like training a muscle that grows stronger with use. At first it may feel awkward or uncomfortable. You might stumble or get no for an answer. But this discomfort is temporary. With time, your asking becomes natural and effortless. The fear that once stopped you becomes a faint memory replaced by a strong belief in your ability to speak up and ask for what you want. Finally, this daily practice creates a deep sense of empowerment. When you see the results of your asking, you realize you hold the key to many doors in your life. You no longer wait for permission or hope for luck. You create your own opportunities through your willingness to ask. This power changes how you live, work, and connect with others. It opens the path to getting whatever you want by building a fearless momentum that cannot be stopped. Chapter 4. Start small by asking for easy favors first. Many people want to jump straight into asking for big things. They dream about getting a promotion, a large loan, or a huge opportunity without warming up to the act of asking itself. This is a big mistake. When the first time you ask feels like a mountain to climb, it creates fear and doubt. Instead of building confidence, you set yourself up for hesitation and second-guessing. The path to getting whatever you want begins with starting small. Asking for easy favors first is like training your confidence muscles gently but steadily. It is the safest way to build courage without overwhelming yourself or the person you're asking. When you start with small requests, you create quick wins. These wins are like fuel for your confidence. Each yes you get proves that asking works. It removes the mental block that asking always leads to rejection. These small victories also teach you how to frame your requests clearly and politely. The more you succeed with little asks, the more natural and comfortable it becomes to ask again. This momentum eventually carries you to larger requests with a fearless mindset. Easy favors are everywhere in daily life. It could be asking a colleague to cover a shift, requesting a friend to share notes, or even asking a stranger for the time. These requests require little effort from the other person and have a low risk of refusal. Because the stakes are low, there is less pressure on you to be perfect. This environment allows you to practice your tone, body language, and clarity without fear of serious consequences. These simple experiences prepare you for bigger challenges. Many people avoid small asks because they underestimate their power. They think these little requests are insignificant or a bother to others. This thinking is a trap. Small asks build the foundation of trust and mutual respect in relationships. When you show others you can ask kindly and respect their time, they become more willing to help in the future. You create a habit of healthy communication that benefits both sides. This habit becomes a key factor in successfully asking for larger favors later. Starting small also helps you understand timing and delivery. You learn when the best moment is to ask and how to phrase your request to get a positive response. These lessons are invaluable. Asking is not just about what you say, but how and when you say it. Small favors give you the chance to experiment and observe without risking much. This experience sharpens your social skills and makes you a more effective communicator overall. Another important aspect of starting small is reducing your fear of rejection. When the request is minor, the fear of hearing no is less intense. You can recover quickly and try again without feeling discouraged. This repeated exposure to asking and sometimes being refused builds resilience. Over time, your emotional response to rejection softens, making you braver in bigger situations. You stop personalizing no as a failure and see it as part of the process. Small asks also teach humility and gratitude. When you request something simple and receive help, you experience the kindness of others firsthand. This experience helps you appreciate the value of asking and receiving. You learn to express thanks sincerely, which strengthens your relationships. Gratitude opens doors and makes others more willing to assist you again. When you start small, you grow in both confidence and character. The habit of asking easy favors daily rewires your brain. It trains your mind to think in terms of possibilities and solutions rather than obstacles and excuses. You start to see asking as a normal part of life, not something to avoid. This shift in perspective is crucial for long-term success. People who avoid asking limit their opportunities. Those who embrace asking with small steps expand their horizons constantly. Starting with small requests also makes you more aware of the needs and boundaries of others. You learn to respect when someone cannot help and to accept it gracefully. This respect builds mutual trust and makes your future asks stronger. People are more likely to say yes when they feel respected and not pressured. Small asks teach you to balance your needs with the comfort of others, creating healthier interactions. When you begin by asking for easy favors, you also gain practical feedback. You discover what kinds of asks get positive responses and which do not. This feedback guides your approach to bigger requests. You learn to avoid vague or complicated asks and focus on clear, manageable ones. Your skill in asking improves step by step, based on real-life experience, not guesswork. Starting small helps you control your expectations. You do not expect a massive yes from the start. Instead, you appreciate every small yes as a building block. This patience is important because it keeps you motivated and prevents frustration. Over time, as you collect small wins, your confidence swells naturally. This gradual growth is more sustainable and less stressful. Small asks also allow you to practice your body language. You learn to stand or sit confidently, maintain eye contact, and use a calm voice. These physical cues reinforce your verbal message and increase your chances of success. When the ask is small, you can focus more on these details and refine your presence. This physical practice becomes automatic, preparing you for bigger moments. Many people overthink big asks because they feel they must be perfect. Starting small removes this pressure. You can make mistakes, learn, and improve without high stakes. This freedom creates a safe environment for growth. When the time comes to make a big request, you will have a solid foundation of practice and self-assurance. Starting with small favors also builds your reputation as someone who communicates well. People notice when you ask politely and clearly, even for small things. This positive impression travels faster than you think. Others begin to see you as confident and respectful, making them more likely to help when you need it most. Your social capital increases quietly but powerfully. Small asks also train your patience and persistence. You may not always get immediate answers or yes. Learning to wait or follow up after a small request is a practice in itself. This patience is essential for bigger asks where waiting times and negotiations are longer. By starting small, you develop the endurance needed for complex requests. Finally, starting small makes asking less intimidating and more natural. It shifts your mindset from fear and doubt to curiosity and growth. You begin to see asking as a tool to improve your life, not a risk to avoid. This change opens new doors and builds unstoppable momentum toward getting whatever you want. Chapter 5. Use silence to make your ask more powerful. Most people rush when they ask for something. They speak quickly, fill every pause with words, and sometimes even stumble over their request. This nervous chatter can weaken the impact of what they are trying to say. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you have when making a request. It commands attention, shows confidence, and gives space for the other person to consider what you have just said. But silence is often uncomfortable for many. The urge to fill the quiet can cause people to rush or repeat themselves unnecessarily. Learning to use silence effectively takes practice, but it can change the way people respond to you dramatically. When you ask and then remain silent, it creates a moment of tension that naturally draws attention. This silence says you are serious, calm, and confident. It allows your words to sink in without distraction. People feel the weight of your ask because it is not followed by nervous filler or apologies. You give your request the respect it deserves and communicate that you expect it to be considered carefully. This subtle form of communication is stronger than any extra explanation you might add. Silence after asking also encourages the other person to respond honestly. If you keep talking, you may unintentionally influence or pressure them with your own words. But when you stay quiet, you give them the space to think and share their true feelings. This openness leads to clearer communication and better outcomes. The silence invites dialogue instead of pushing for a quick yes or no. It shows you value their input and are willing to listen. Many people feel awkward with silence and try to rush through the asking process. This rush can make you appear desperate or unsure. Silence signals the opposite. It says you are in control and patient. This patience is magnetic because it demonstrates your belief in the importance of what you are asking for. It also communicates respect for the person you are asking, giving them time to process before responding. When you show respect in this way, people are more inclined to respond positively. Using silence effectively also means avoiding the temptation to repeat your ask. Some think if they say it again, it will increase their chances of success. In reality, repetition often annoys or confuses the listener. When you repeat, it suggests doubt about your own request or pressures the other person. Silence after a single clear request has a stronger impact. It shows you trust your words and believe in your ask enough not to keep restating it. Silence can also help you manage your own emotions. Asking can bring up nervousness, anxiety, or fear. When you remain silent, you give yourself a moment to breathe and collect your thoughts. This pause calms your nerves and helps you maintain control. It prevents you from rushing or speaking impulsively. This calm presence makes your ask more persuasive and your confidence more believable. Another powerful aspect of silence is that it increases your awareness of the other person's reaction. When you stop talking, you can watch their body language, facial expressions, and listen to their tone more clearly. These non-verbal cues tell you how your ask is being received and what you might need to adjust. This information is valuable for deciding how to continue the conversation or when to follow up. Silence also forces the other person to fill the gap. This psychological effect often leads them to offer more information, explanations, or even a favorable answer. People do not like awkward pauses and will naturally try to resolve the tension by speaking. This tendency gives you an advantage because you can hear their thoughts and negotiate more effectively. Many successful communicators use silence as a strategic tool. They understand that what is not said can be as powerful as what is spoken. Using silence shows mastery of conversation and emotional intelligence. It shifts the balance of power because it puts pressure on the listener to respond instead of you pushing for their answer. This subtle control can make the difference between a yes and a no. Silence is especially useful when the ask involves negotiation or requests that might be difficult to grant. When you pause after making your request, it creates a space for the other person to consider compromises or alternative solutions. It shows you are willing to wait and listen, not demand. This openness often leads to better agreements and mutual respect. To use silence well, you must first be comfortable with it yourself. Practice sitting quietly after making a request and resist the urge to speak. Notice how it feels and observe the reactions around you. Over time, this practice will build your confidence in silence as a powerful tool. You will learn that quiet moments are not empty, but full of potential. Silence also improves your overall communication skills. When you learn to pause and listen more, your conversations become deeper and more meaningful. You understand others better and can respond more thoughtfully. This skill strengthens relationships and makes asking feel less like a challenge and more like an exchange. Avoid filling silence with unnecessary details or excuses. When you do this, you dilute your message and reduce your authority. Keep your ask simple and clear, then allow the silence to work for you. Trust that your message is strong enough on its own and that the pause will create the impact you want. Silence can sometimes feel uncomfortable because it requires patience and restraint. It is tempting to rush to fill it, especially when emotions run high. But that discomfort is temporary. As you become more comfortable with silence, you will notice how it changes the dynamics of your asking. You will start to hear responses you might have missed in your own talking. When you combine confident asking with well-timed silence, you create a powerful communication style. People are drawn to your calm assurance and clarity. They feel respected and considered. This approach builds trust and makes your requests harder to refuse. Using silence also helps you avoid misunderstandings. It gives both you and the other person time to think clearly. This thoughtful pause reduces the chance of impulsive or emotional reactions that could damage your request. Instead, it creates a space for rational and honest conversation. Many times, silence is mistaken for weakness or uncertainty. In truth, it takes courage and strength to remain silent and let your request stand on its own. This courage impresses others because it shows you are secure in what you want and how you ask for it. People respect confidence that is calm and measured. Practicing silence in your asking will change how you feel about making requests. It will transform asking from a hurried, stressful event into a deliberate and empowering interaction. The power of silence lies not in what is said, but in the space you create for connection and understanding. When you master this art, your requests gain a new level of seriousness and respect. You no longer feel the need to rush or fill the air with unnecessary words. Instead, you command attention with your presence and timing. This silent strength opens doors and makes it easier to get whatever you want. Chapter 6. Ask the right person at the right time. When it comes to getting what you want, asking just anyone, anytime is a mistake many people make. This approach wastes energy and often leads to disappointment. The truth is, who you ask and when you ask matters more than most realize. It is not enough to have a clear request or even confidence in asking. You have to be strategic about your timing and your audience. Getting this right increases your chances of success tremendously. It shows respect for the other person's position and creates conditions for a positive response. This skill can be learned and refined. Most people want quick answers and do not think much about timing. They approach someone when it is inconvenient or when emotions are high. This lack of awareness causes doors to close before they even get a chance to explain their request. Timing is about understanding the rhythm and mood of the person you want to ask. It means noticing when they are most receptive, calm, and available to listen. When you catch someone in a good moment, your ask will be heard with more openness. Knowing the right person is equally critical. Asking the wrong person is like knocking on the wrong door. They may not have the authority, resources, or willingness to help. It leads to frustration on both sides. Your request may be ignored or passed around with little result. Identifying the right person requires research and observation. Sometimes the person in charge is not obvious. You have to dig deeper to find who truly has the power to say yes. It is important to consider what that person values and what they need at the moment you want to ask. Timing is not just about convenience, it is about relevance. If your ask aligns with their goals or priorities, they are more likely to respond positively. For example, asking for support on a project when the person is already focused on similar work is better than catching them during a stressful crisis. You have to put yourself in their shoes and imagine their current situation. Patience is essential in learning to ask at the right time. You might feel the urgency of your request, but rushing will usually backfire. Waiting for a better moment is not a sign of weakness. It is a demonstration of wisdom and respect. It shows you are considerate of the other person's state and that your ask is thoughtful. This consideration increases your credibility and builds trust. Understanding people's schedules and priorities also plays a role. Some respond better in the morning, others after a break or at the end of the day. Learning these small details requires attention and sometimes asking indirect questions to find out when they are least busy or distracted. Once you know their patterns, you can plan your ask more carefully. Recognizing emotional states is just as vital as knowing schedules. If the person is upset, stressed, or distracted, it is not the moment to make an important request. You will get a curt no or a distracted response that means little. A calm and focused person listens better and gives you a fair hearing. This awareness comes from paying close attention and having empathy. Another aspect to consider is the setting. Asking in a private and quiet place is often better than in a loud or public environment. Privacy allows for open conversation without pressure or embarrassment. It lets the person feel comfortable and not put on the spot. A respectful setting enhances your chances of a meaningful dialogue. Knowing when not to ask is just as important as knowing when to ask. Some people may never be in the right position or state to say yes. Holding on to hope without signs of openness wastes your time. Instead, focus your energy on people who show willingness or influence. This focus is strategic and practical. In some cases, timing may mean waiting for an event or milestone. For example, asking for a promotion right after a successful project is more effective than during a slump. Timing your ask with success stories or positive moments increases your leverage. It ties your request to something concrete and undeniable. There is also power in preparation before the right time. Use the waiting period to build rapport, gather information, and strengthen your position. The better prepared you are when the moment arrives, the more compelling your ask will be. Preparation turns timing into opportunity. When you finally ask, be clear and concise. Respect the time of the person you chose to approach. A well-timed ask should not drag on unnecessarily. Get to the point and leave room for their response. This respect for their time makes them more willing to listen. The right timing and person also reduce the emotional toll of asking. When you know you approached someone capable and ready, you feel less anxious. This confidence radiates and improves your communication. It changes your energy from desperation to empowerment. Some people fear waiting too long and missing their chance. While timing is important, waiting does not mean inaction. It means preparing yourself and your ask, so when the right moment comes, you are ready. Waiting with purpose keeps you active and optimistic. Asking the right person at the right time is a skill that combines observation, patience, and respect. It transforms the asking experience from a shot in the dark into a calculated and effective strategy. People respond to consideration and timing more than the words themselves. This strategy also builds long-term relationships. When you ask thoughtfully, people remember your respect and patience. They become more willing to help in the future because you honor their time and feelings. This builds a foundation of trust and goodwill. Avoid the temptation to ask everyone indiscriminately, hoping for a lucky yes. This approach spreads your energy thin and reduces your credibility. Being selective shows you value your own request and the person you approach. Timing your ask with awareness also teaches humility. It reminds you that you are not the center of the other person's world. Respecting their circumstances and priorities deepens your emotional intelligence. This maturity makes you more effective in all your interactions. Ultimately, knowing the right person and right time is about respect for yourself and others. It is about creating conditions where your request is welcomed and considered seriously. This respect turns asking into a powerful act rather than a stressful demand. Mastering this skill allows you to ask without fear or hesitation. It makes your requests more strategic and increases your chances of getting what you want. When you understand the power of timing and audience, you step into a new level of personal and professional effectiveness. Chapter 7. Be specific and direct with your request. Most people struggle with asking because their requests are vague or unclear. This creates confusion and leaves the other person unsure about what exactly is being asked of them. Clarity is the foundation of every successful ask. When a request is specific and direct, it removes any doubt and shows that you value both your own time and the time of the person you are addressing. Without this precision, your words float in the air and the opportunity slips away. People avoid being specific because they fear sounding demanding or afraid they will offend. Yet the truth is that being clear is a sign of respect, not rudeness. When you clearly state what you want, you eliminate unnecessary guessing. It makes it easier for the other person to say yes because they understand exactly what you need and how they can help. Vagueness causes hesitation and often leads to no response at all. A direct request also shows confidence. When you stand firm and speak plainly, it signals that you believe in your own value and the importance of your request. This confidence is contagious and helps the person you ask to take you seriously. If you stumble or hedge around your words, it creates doubt and weakens your position. Speak with purpose and conviction. To be specific, begin by defining the exact outcome you want. Avoid generalities such as asking for help without explaining what kind of help. Instead, say what type of assistance, how much, and by when. The more detail you provide, the easier it is for the other person to visualize the request and decide how to respond. This precision creates clarity and builds trust. Directness also prevents miscommunication. When your request is crystal clear, there is no room for misunderstanding. This reduces frustration on both sides and increases the chances that your ask will be fulfilled as intended. Clarity saves time and prevents disappointment. Many people feel uncomfortable stating their needs directly because they fear rejection or appearing selfish. However, indirect asks create more problems. They waste time and energy because the person you ask is left guessing what you really want. This guessing game leads to incomplete answers or no action at all. Being upfront saves everyone from unnecessary frustration. It is important to deliver your request without beating around the bush or adding unnecessary explanations. Simple, straightforward language is the most effective. Avoid long stories or excuses. Focus on what you want and communicate it clearly. This approach respects the listener's time and attention. When you are specific, you can also guide the other person's response. Instead of leaving things open-ended, give options or specify how they can help. For example, rather than saying, "Can you help me sometime?" say, "Can you review this report by Thursday afternoon?" This makes it easier for them to say yes or no and prevents ambiguity. Being direct does not mean being harsh or demanding. It means stating your needs with honesty and respect. Tone matters just as much as words. Speak calmly and confidently without sounding aggressive. This balance makes your request more appealing and increases cooperation. Practicing specificity helps you understand your own desires better. When you force yourself to put your request into clear words, you discover exactly what you want and why. This self-awareness strengthens your purpose and makes your ask more meaningful. Knowing your request inside and out makes it easier to stand firm when you face hesitation or rejection. Specificity also allows for measurable results. When you define your ask clearly, it is easier to know if it was fulfilled or not. This clarity creates accountability for both you and the person you ask. You can track progress and adjust your approach if needed. Without specific goals, it is difficult to evaluate success. Many times, people are afraid that a specific ask will be too much, or that the answer will be no. While this fear is natural, it should not stop you from being clear. If your request is reasonable and well thought out, it deserves to be heard. Being specific gives you a chance to negotiate and clarify further if needed. It opens a door to dialogue rather than closing it. When you avoid specificity, you rob yourself of power. Vague requests leave too much to chance. They make your goal blurry and harder to achieve. Specific asks, on the other hand, empower you to take control of the situation and guide the conversation toward your desired outcome. Clarity also reduces anxiety. When your request is well defined, you know exactly what you're asking for and why. This certainty calms your nerves and makes your delivery stronger. You are less likely to second-guess yourself and more likely to make a convincing case. It is helpful to practice framing your request before you ask. Write it down or say it out loud until it feels natural. This preparation helps eliminate any unnecessary words or confusion. It allows you to polish your message and present it with confidence. A rehearsed request is more powerful than a rushed one. Being direct with your ask builds your reputation as someone who is clear and reliable. People appreciate when others communicate plainly because it saves time and reduces frustration. This reputation makes future requests easier and increases your influence. Clarity in your request also helps you stay focused on your goal. When you are specific, you are less likely to get sidetracked or distracted by unrelated issues. Your ask becomes a sharp tool that cuts through confusion and gets results. Sometimes people think they need to soften their ask with too many apologies or justifications. This approach weakens your position and makes your request seem less important. Being straightforward with kindness and respect is far more effective than over-explaining. In summary, being specific and direct with your request is a skill that opens doors. It shows respect, builds confidence, reduces misunderstandings, and increases the likelihood of a positive response. Clarity is your strongest ally when asking for anything. Without it, your ask will get lost in the noise. You deserve to be heard clearly. Your time matters, and so does the time of the person you ask. Speak with intention. Say exactly what you want without hesitation or confusion. When your request is precise and direct, it holds power. It moves people. It creates action. This is how you get what you want. Chapter 8. Follow up without fear or emotional hesitation. Many people understand the importance of asking, but most stumble when it comes to following up. The silence after an ask can be deafening. It creates an uncomfortable space filled with doubt and second-guessing. Did they hear me? Are they thinking about it? Did I bother them? These questions flood the mind, and fear builds. That fear keeps most people from ever reaching out again. It stops progress dead in its tracks. Following up is not about pestering or begging. It is about showing commitment and seriousness toward your request. When you follow up, you demonstrate that your ask was important enough to revisit. You remind the other person gently but firmly that their response matters to you. Fear and hesitation often convince people that follow-ups are intrusive, but the truth is the opposite. Without follow-up, many requests simply fall through the cracks. The first reason people avoid following up is because they fear rejection. They imagine the other person saying no or being annoyed, and that possibility stops them before they try. This fear is natural but not productive. Rejection is not the end of the road. It is part of the process that brings you closer to a yes. Every no shapes your approach and strengthens your ability to ask again. Emotional hesitation can also come from a lack of confidence or self-worth. If you do not believe your request is worthy, then you hesitate to remind the other person. You feel like you are asking too much or bothering them. This mindset only diminishes your chances of success. When you value your own needs and time, following up becomes a natural step in achieving your goals. Following up shows responsibility. It reflects that you are proactive and organized. It tells others that you are serious and that you respect the commitment you are requesting. People respond to responsibility. When you show that you are attentive and willing to follow through, you increase your credibility and trustworthiness. Waiting too long to follow up can cost opportunities. Timing matters. The longer you wait, the more distant the request feels. The situation changes, people get busy, and your ask can be forgotten. A timely follow-up refreshes the memory and keeps the conversation alive. It keeps your goal in focus and increases the chances of a favorable outcome. The way you follow up also makes a difference. It should be polite and professional, not aggressive or demanding. A simple message asking for an update or expressing appreciation for their time is enough. The tone should be respectful and patient, showing understanding of the other person's situation while gently reminding them of your request. Many people hesitate because they do not know how to follow up properly. The key is to keep it short and clear. Reiterate your ask briefly and ask if there is any additional information you can provide. This approach opens the door for dialogue rather than confrontation. It also allows the other person to respond comfortably. Another obstacle is the fear of sounding repetitive. People worry that a second or third follow-up will annoy the recipient. However, when done with tact, following up is seen as a sign of professionalism, not annoyance. The difference lies in the approach. Polite persistence earns respect, while pushiness damages relationships. It is helpful to prepare what you will say before following up. Writing a clear, concise message reduces anxiety and improves communication. When you know what you want to say, your words come out more confident and convincing. Preparation also helps you avoid emotional reactions and stick to the facts. Follow-up is also an opportunity to learn. If your request is declined or delayed, you can ask for feedback or clarification. This information helps you adjust your approach and improve future asks. It turns rejection into growth rather than failure. Without follow-up, you miss out on these valuable insights. Many successful people attribute their progress to the habit of following up. They do not rely on one ask alone, but understand that persistence pays. The most fruitful deals and opportunities often come after multiple touches. Following up is a way to nurture relationships and keep communication open. It is important to remember that following up is part of respectful communication. It is not about forcing someone to say yes, but about keeping the conversation alive. This mindset removes the emotional weight and replaces it with practical purpose. When you detach emotionally, follow-ups become easier and more effective. A practical tip is to set reminders for yourself to follow up. This simple act keeps you on track and prevents hesitation. Treat follow-up as a routine part of the asking process, not an afterthought. Consistency builds momentum and strengthens your ability to handle rejection or silence. Sometimes people feel embarrassed to follow up because they think it shows desperation. In reality, it shows professionalism and dedication. Following up proves that you care about your goals and are willing to do the work. This attitude separates those who succeed from those who give up too soon. Another advantage of following up is that it shows respect for the relationship. Ignoring a request after the first ask can come off as careless or disinterested. Following up shows that you value the interaction and want to maintain connection. It builds rapport and encourages future collaboration. When you master the skill of following up, you remove one of the biggest barriers to getting what you want. Fear, doubt, and emotional hesitation no longer hold you back. You take control and guide the process toward your desired outcome. This power comes from persistence paired with respect and clarity. It is normal to feel nervous before a follow-up, but this feeling does not have to stop you. Push through the discomfort, knowing that your effort brings you closer to your goal. Every follow-up is a step forward, a chance to open doors that were previously closed or unnoticed. Be mindful of how often you follow up. Too many requests without giving space can cause fatigue, but too few and your request loses momentum. Finding the right balance depends on the situation and relationship. Start with 1 or 2 polite follow-ups and assess the response. Adjust accordingly. Ultimately, following up is about communication and connection. It is about showing that you respect yourself and the person you are asking. This mutual respect forms the foundation for success. When you embrace follow-up without fear or hesitation, you take full responsibility for your goals. You give yourself the best chance to get what you want. Chapter 9. Accept rejection and ask again with adjustments. Rejection is one of the toughest realities to face when asking for something important. Almost everyone feels the sting of being told no. It hurts. It challenges your confidence. It tempts you to quit. The natural reaction is to avoid asking again or to take rejection personally. The truth is, rejection is not a reflection of your worth or your ability. It is simply part of the process that leads to success. Every person who has achieved anything meaningful has faced rejection repeatedly. What separates those who succeed is their willingness to accept rejection, learn from it, and ask again with better strategy. Facing rejection means you must manage your emotions. Feeling disappointed or frustrated is natural, but letting those feelings stop your progress is a choice. When a request is denied, it is important to pause and separate your emotions from the situation. See rejection as feedback rather than failure. It is a sign that something needs adjustment. This mindset shift changes rejection from a roadblock to a stepping stone. After a rejection, the first step is to analyze what happened. Did you ask the right question? Was your timing off? Did you communicate clearly? Were you asking the right person? Understanding why the request was denied is crucial. Without this insight, asking again without change is likely to lead to the same result. Being honest with yourself and open to feedback improves your future asks. Adjusting your approach after rejection shows growth and maturity. It might mean refining your request to be more specific or realistic. It could involve improving your communication style to be clearer and more compelling. Sometimes it means waiting for a better moment or reaching out to a different person who has the power to say yes. This willingness to change and adapt is a powerful skill that builds resilience. Rejection also tests your patience. Success rarely comes overnight or without multiple attempts. When you accept rejection, you accept the reality that progress is often a slow process. This understanding helps you stay committed despite setbacks. Consistency combined with adjustment increases your chances to eventually get what you want. It is important not to take rejection personally. Often the no is about circumstances beyond your control. People have their own limitations, priorities, and pressures. Your request may not fit their situation at the time. This does not diminish the value of your request or you as a person. Keeping this perspective reduces emotional weight and helps you remain professional and composed. Rejection provides an opportunity to deepen relationships. When handled with grace, it can build respect and trust. Expressing gratitude for the consideration and asking for advice or alternatives shows humility and openness. These actions can turn a no into a conversation that leads to a yes later or introduces you to new possibilities. People appreciate those who handle rejection with dignity. Persistence is not about blind repetition. It is about thoughtful repetition. Asking again with adjustments means you show that you are serious and flexible. You demonstrate that you are listening and learning. This behavior increases the likelihood that the next ask will be met with a positive response. It sends a message that you are committed and strategic, not desperate. Rejection can sometimes bring clarity. It forces you to re-examine your goals and your approach. Maybe what you initially wanted is not the best fit or needs refinement. This process of reflection helps align your asks with reality while still aiming high. It encourages you to be creative and resourceful in how you pursue your objectives. Fear of rejection often stops people from asking again. This fear creates a mental block that limits possibilities. Overcoming it requires courage and practice. Each time you face rejection and keep going, your confidence grows. You build emotional strength that allows you to handle future no's without losing momentum. This strength is essential to success in any area of life. Handling rejection well improves your reputation. People notice when someone takes no with grace and keeps trying constructively. This attitude can open doors and build allies. It reflects professionalism and emotional intelligence. These qualities attract opportunities and people who want to support your journey. It is helpful to prepare your mind before making the ask. Understand that rejection is a possible outcome, but not the only one. Accepting this possibility frees you from unrealistic expectations and reduces anxiety. You go into every ask ready to learn, adapt, and continue. This readiness makes asking easier and more effective. When you do ask again, be clear about what has changed. Explain how you have adjusted your request or timing. This shows you are paying attention and respect the other person's perspective. It also helps the other party see your sincerity and thoughtfulness. This transparency builds trust and increases the chance of success. Rejection can also reveal hidden opportunities. Sometimes the no comes with reasons or conditions. These insights can be used to negotiate or explore alternatives. Asking for feedback or suggestions after rejection shows you value the relationship and are looking for win-win outcomes. This approach creates dialogue and collaboration. Your attitude toward rejection influences how others respond to you. If you react with anger or defensiveness, it creates tension and closes doors. If you respond calmly and thoughtfully, it opens doors and builds bridges. Emotional control and professionalism are key to turning rejection into a positive force. Accepting rejection and asking again with adjustments is a sign of maturity and determination. It separates those who achieve their dreams from those who give up. Every rejection is a lesson that brings you closer to the yes. This journey requires patience, flexibility, and a strong belief in your goals. Remember that every successful person you admire has been rejected many times. They did not stop or let rejection define them. They used it to improve and move forward. Their stories remind us that rejection is a natural part of growth and achievement. In the end, rejection is a signal, not a verdict. It tells you to rethink, regroup, and try again differently. When you accept this truth, you take control of your outcomes. You refuse to be defeated by no's and instead use them as fuel for your persistence. This approach gives you power and freedom in the art of asking. Chapter 10. Use fear to your advantage. Most people run from fear. They avoid it. They pretend it is not there. They push it aside and hope it disappears. But fear does not vanish when ignored. It grows stronger in the dark. It waits in silence. And when you least expect it, it controls your decisions. It dictates your actions. It limits your choices. Most people are not held back by a lack of skill or intelligence. They are paralyzed by fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of discomfort, fear of change, fear of success. Fear of responsibility. These fears control more people than excuses or laziness ever could. The average person has incredible potential buried beneath their fear. That potential remains untouched because fear convinces them to stay safe, stay small, stay hidden, stay silent. But fear can be used differently. Fear can become fuel. It can become a reason to act instead of a reason to stop. The key is to stop avoiding fear and start facing it. The key is to use fear as an indicator of importance. If something scares you deeply, it usually matters deeply. Fear is not your enemy. It is a signal. It is your body's way of telling you that you are stepping into unknown territory, that you are about to grow, that you are challenging your limits, that you are taking a risk. And growth only happens on the other side of risk. Fear is the doorway. Most people see fear and turn around, but the courageous ones walk through. They understand that fear is not something to escape. It is something to study, something to master, something to transform. Using fear to your advantage begins with awareness. You must first admit you are afraid. Denying your fear only makes it harder to manage. But once you admit it, you can work with it. You can ask yourself what exactly you are afraid of. Is it embarrassment? Is it failure? Is it rejection? Is it being exposed as not good enough? Once you name the fear, you shrink its power. You make it visible, and what is visible can be examined and handled. The next step is to challenge the story your fear is telling you. Fear always exaggerates. It imagines worst-case scenarios and then repeats them endlessly. It shows you images of disaster and convinces you they are inevitable. But you can interrupt this pattern. You can question those stories. What if the worst doesn't happen? What if the risk pays off? What if you are more capable than you think? These questions weaken fear and strengthen your courage. You can also use fear as a compass. Often the thing you fear most is the exact thing you need to do next. If giving a speech terrifies you, then speaking might be the key to unlocking new confidence. If asking for help scares you, then that ask might be the start of real growth. If changing careers fills you with anxiety, then that move might lead to a more fulfilling life. Fear often marks the path that matters. Following that path is uncomfortable, but it is also transformative. Turning fear into fuel requires practice. It does not happen overnight. You must expose yourself to fear on purpose. You must choose to lean into discomfort, not recklessly, not without thinking, but deliberately. You must set challenges that stretch you. You must take small steps toward big fears. Each step builds courage. Each victory builds belief. Slowly, fear loses its grip. And in its place, you build a new identity. You become someone who acts in spite of fear, someone who leads instead of retreats, someone who grows instead of shrinks. There will always be fear. It does not disappear with success. It evolves. The fears of beginners are different from the fears of experts, but both experience it. The difference is that successful people have learned how to use fear instead of be used by it. They use it as a teacher. They use it as a motivator. They use it as a reminder to stay sharp and humble. Fear becomes part of their toolkit, not part of their prison. There is power in being afraid and acting anyway. That is real strength. That is real courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in the presence of fear. And every time you take action while afraid, you train your mind to respect you. You prove to yourself that you are bigger than your fear, that you are in control, that you are choosing your path instead of letting fear choose it for you. Fear also connects us. Everyone feels it. No one escapes it. But when you face your fears and share that journey, you inspire others. You give them permission to face their own fears. You become a leader without even trying. Your courage becomes contagious. Your story becomes proof that fear does not have to be final. That fear is not a wall. It is a test. And if you pass it, your entire life changes. Use fear as a reason, not an excuse. Use it as a signal, not a stop sign. Let it show you where you need to grow. Let it reveal what you truly care about. Let it push you toward the actions that matter most. Fear is not here to destroy you. It is here to shape you. If you avoid it, you stay the same. If you face it, you become someone new, and that someone is capable of more than you can imagine. Most of what you want sits on the other side of fear. That conversation, that decision, that opportunity, that dream. Fear guards the gate. You have to go through it to get to what you want. That will never be easy, but it will always be worth it. Because fear has no power once you move forward. The only real power fear has is in the waiting, in the hesitation, in the moments you delay and doubt. Action is the antidote. Action is the weapon. Action is the way. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for fear to disappear. That day will not come. Instead, feel the fear and move anyway. Use it. Welcome it. Learn from it. Let it stretch you. Let it reveal who you really are. Let it take you where comfort never could. That is how you use fear to your advantage. That is how you grow. That is how you win.